The thing about grief is that it doesn't announce itself with fanfare. It just shows up one Tuesday morning while you're brushing your teeth, and suddenly you're on your knees on cold bathroom tiles, sobbing so hard you can't catch your breath. That's where Marcus found himself 3 months after his wife Sarah died, broken, alone, and wondering if kindness had died right along with her. He'd stopped answering the door weeks ago. The casseroles had piled up, then stopped coming. The concerned calls from friends had dwindled to occasional text messages he left unread. His 12-year-old daughter, Emma, had retreated so far into herself that sometimes Marcus forgot what her voice sounded like. They existed in the same house like ghosts haunting separate rooms, each drowning in their own ocean of loss. It was Emma's guidance counselor, Mrs. Patterson, who finally broke through the walls Marcus had built. She didn't call or knock. She simply left a note taped to his front door. "Your daughter needs you. Fourth period tomorrow. Please." The "please" was underlined 3 times. Marcus almost didn't go. He stood in the shower the next morning, water running cold, trying to remember the last time he'd been a father instead of just a hollow shell wearing a dead man's clothes. But something in those 3 underlined pleases pulled at what remained of his heart. The middle school hallway smelled like floor wax and teenage anxiety. Marcus felt every eye on him as he walked toward the counselor's office, suddenly aware of his wrinkled shirt and uncombed hair. Through the small window in the door, he saw Emma sitting with her arms wrapped around herself, looking so small in that plastic chair that his heart cracked all over again. "Mr. Chen," Mrs. Patterson said, opening the door before he could knock. "Thank you for coming." Emma wouldn't look at him. Her eyes stayed fixed on a poster about kindness on the wall, a rainbow, with words like compassion and empathy arcing across it in cheerful letters that felt obscene in their optimism. "Emma's teacher found this in her desk," Mrs. Patterson said gently, sliding a crumpled paper across her desk. It was a list, written in Emma's careful handwriting. Ways to disappear without anyone noticing. The world tilted sideways. Marcus reached for Emma, but she flinched away, and that small movement destroyed him more completely than Sarah's death ever had. "I can't do this alone," Emma whispered, finally meeting his eyes. "I lost Mom. I can't lose you, too." Those words should have fixed everything. That's how it works in movies. The wake-up call, the realization, the tearful embrace. But real life is messier than that. Marcus wanted to promise her everything would be okay, but he'd learned that promises were just future disappointments wrapped in hope. Instead, he said the only true thing he knew. "I'm scared." "Me too," Emma said. Mrs. Patterson gave them both a sad smile. "Grief is heavy," she said, "but it's lighter when you carry it together." They left the school in silence, Marcus's hand hovering near Emma's shoulder, afraid to touch and equally afraid not to. In the parking lot, an elderly woman was struggling with grocery bags spilling from her cart, oranges rolling across the pavement like tiny escaped suns. Marcus started to walk past. He had nothing left to give anyone, but Emma broke away and ran to help. He watched his daughter gathering oranges with gentle hands, saw the woman's grateful smile, heard Emma's soft voice saying, "It's okay, I've got them." Something shifted in Marcus's chest. Sarah used to say that kindness was the only thing that multiplied when you divided it. He'd thought that was just one of her beautiful lies, the kind that made life bearable. But watching Emma help a stranger while drowning in her own grief, he understood that his wife had been right about everything that mattered. "Thank you, sweetheart," the woman said, touching Emma's cheek. "You're a good soul." Emma's eyes filled with tears. "My mom used to say that." "Then she was a wise woman," the stranger said. "And I bet she's very proud of you." In the car, neither of them spoke for a long time. Finally, Marcus broke the silence. "What if we try something?" "What?" "Your mom had this theory," he said, gripping the steering wheel like a lifeline. "She believed that when you're drowning in darkness, you have to become the light for someone else, that helping others helps you find your way back." "That sounds like Mom," Emma said, and for the first time in months, there was something other than pain in her voice. "What if we did one kind thing every day? Not to fix ourselves, I don't know if we can be fixed, but just to honor her, to prove that she mattered by showing that what she taught us matters." Emma was quiet for so long Marcus thought she'd reject the idea. Then, "Okay." but you have to promise to really try. Not just go through the motions. I promise, Marcus said, and this time the promise felt like something he could keep. They started small. The next morning, they left coffee and donuts for their mail carrier with a note that said, "Thank you for delivering mail in all weather." The woman's smile when she found them was like sunrise after an endless night. They brought dinner to their elderly neighbor, Mr. Reynolds, who'd been alone since his son moved to California. They spent an hour listening to his stories about his late wife, and when they left, Marcus realized he'd actually laughed, for the first time since Sarah died. Emma organized a coat drive at school. Marcus volunteered at the food bank downtown, sorting cans alongside other broken people trying to piece themselves back together through service. Some days were harder than others. There were mornings when Marcus couldn't get out of bed, when the weight of existence felt like too much to bear. But Emma would knock on his door and say, "Come on, Dad, Mrs. Jenkins needs her groceries delivered," or "The animal shelter needs dog walkers today." And somehow, he'd find the strength. 6 weeks into their project, they were at the grocery store when Emma tugged his sleeve. "Dad, look." A woman stood in the checkout line, quietly crying as the cashier informed her that her card had been declined. She had a cart full of basics: bread, milk, peanut butter, and a little boy clutching her hand, looking up at her with worried eyes. Marcus watched Emma walk over without hesitation. "Excuse me," his daughter said to the cashier. "Can we pay for her groceries?" The woman turned, startled. "Oh no, sweetheart, that's so kind, but—" "Please," Emma said. "Someone did something kind for me once when I really needed it. I'd like to pass it on." The woman's face crumpled. "I just lost my job last week, and my son's birthday is tomorrow, and I just wanted to make him his favorite sandwiches." And she broke down completely. And Emma did something that shocked Marcus to his core. She hugged this stranger, this grown woman she'd never met, and held on tight while the woman sobbed into her shoulder. "It's going to be okay," Emma whispered. "I don't know how, but it will be. Someone told me that once and I didn't believe them. But I'm starting to think maybe it's true." Marcus paid for the groceries, his hands shaking. The woman thanked them over and over, her little boy beaming, and as they walked to their car, Emma slipped her hand into his. "Mom would have done that," she said. "You're so much like her," Marcus replied, his voice thick. "You're carrying her forward." "Emma, every kind thing you do, you're keeping her alive in the world." "We both are," Emma said. That night they sat at the kitchen table, the first time they'd eaten dinner together in months, and Emma pulled out a notebook. "I've been keeping track," she said. "We've done 62 kind things. I wrote them all down." Marcus read through the list, helped carry groceries, donated clothes, visited nursing homes, paid for the car behind them in the drive-thru, left encouraging notes in library books, planted flowers at the community center, tutored struggling students, fed parking meters that were about to expire. 62 small acts of kindness, and somehow, they'd survived 62 more days without Sarah. "You know what I realized?" Emma said. "When we're helping other people, I forget to be sad for a little while. And then I feel guilty for forgetting, like I'm betraying Mom, but then I remember that she'd want us to have moments of not sad. She'd want us to find light again." "She would," Marcus agreed. "She'd be so proud of you, Emma. I'm so proud of you." "I'm proud of us," Emma corrected. "We're doing this together." 3 months later, Marcus was back at the middle school for an assembly. Emma was receiving an award, the principal's recognition for outstanding character, for organizing the coat drive that had collected over 300 winter coats for families in need. Watching his daughter stand on that stage, confident and bright despite the grief she still carried, Marcus felt something he hadn't felt since Sarah died. Hope. Not the cheap kind that pretends everything is fine, but the real kind that acknowledges the pain and chooses to believe in tomorrow anyway. After the assembly, a woman approached them in the parking lot. Marcus recognized her immediately, the woman from the grocery store. "I wanted to thank you again," she said. "That day I was in such a dark place. Your kindness reminded me that there are still good people in the world. I found a new job last week and things are getting better." "I'm so glad," Emma said, smiling. "My son still talks about the nice people who helped his—" "Mommy," the woman continued, I want him to grow up remembering that kindness exists, that strangers can be angels. After she left, Marcus pulled Emma close. Your mom used to say that we're all just walking each other home. That life is hard, but it's less hard when we help each other carry the weight. Do you think she knows? Emma asked. What we've been doing? I think she knows, Marcus said, looking up at the sky. And I think she's smiling. They drove home as the sun set, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold. The grief hadn't disappeared, it never would. Sarah's absence was still a wound that would never fully heal. But somehow, in choosing to be kind even while hurting, they'd found a way to survive. More than survive, they'd found a way to honor her memory by becoming the kind of people she'd always believed they could be. That night, Emma added one more line to her notebook. Learned that broken people can still be kind, maybe especially broken people, because we know what it's like to need kindness. And in the margin, in his own handwriting, Marcus added, your mother was right about everything. The thing about grief is that it doesn't disappear. But Marcus had learned that it transforms. In the space where Sarah used to be, there was now something else, a commitment to carry her light forward, to be the kindness she'd always embodied, to teach Emma that even in loss, we have the power to choose love over despair. They couldn't bring Sarah back, but they could honor her by living the way she'd taught them to live, with open hands and generous hearts, helping strangers, spreading light, proving every single day that one person's kindness can ripple out in ways we never see but always matter. In the end, that was her legacy. Not the grief they carried, but the love they chose to give because of her. And in that choice, Sarah lived on, in every kind word, every helping hand, every moment when they chose connection over isolation, hope over despair, light over darkness. She lived on in them, and through them in everyone they touched. And that, Marcus finally understood, was the whole point of everything.